We huddle all around the other kind of fire. It used to be the television, and maybe it still is, the big HD TV, or certainly the computer, if it's not that, right? But tonight we're going to enter into the fire of our imagination, and our memories, Ubuntu. When I got to college, I walked into a class taught by a man by the name of George Houston Bass. Anybody ever heard of him before? Antoinette knows who he is. Yeah. George Houston Bass was a professor in the African American studies, I think they called it Black Studies back then. And he was the founder of Rights and Reason Theater, which was one of the very first Black theaters all across the country. And it was created by George and a man by the name of Rhett Jones because they knew that Black people, whatever their heritage was or is, Black people had stories to tell. And stories to tell in a Black way. And so Rights and Reason Theater was created. And one of the first things that I learned from George Houston Bass was an African consciousness. George gathered us in a circle, kind of like we're almost gathered here now. And he left one chair open and he brought out, I didn't plan to tell you this, but I'm telling it to you, so you might as well just go with it, right? Or I'll go with it. He brought out a canister, and he placed it in our midst. And we said, Professor Bass, what is that? And he said, these are the ashes of Langston Hughes. We said, excuse me? He said, these are the ashes of Langston Hughes. And then he told us that he had worked for, you all know who Langston Hughes is. One of the greatest poets of all time. One of the greatest storytellers who listened to the words that Black people spoke every single day. And he wrote them down and he put them in books. Oh, you heard a little piece of it in the poet earlier. When I Dream a World, I Dream a World. One of Langston Hughes' beautiful poems. I Dream a World. He said, I'm bringing you Langston so that you know that you are part of a continuum. Langston told stories. We gather in this circle to tell stories. And you are storytellers too. And he said, we sit in circle like this because the circle makes us one. And in African consciousness, we are, therefore I am. We are, therefore I am. Now, he didn't know Zulu. He didn't know Ubuntu. But he knew that all over the continent of Africa, people have this way of thinking. I am who I am because of who we all are. Now that translation isn't even a Zulu translation. That's a Liberian translation of the concept. And in Malawi, in Chichewa, they say Umuntu. And in Sutu, they say Bontu. Same concept, shared all over the continent. And brought all over the world by African and African-descended people, thank God. Because African people know that we are all family. No matter what we wear, no matter what our hair, no matter what our skin, no matter what our language, we know this. Even when we don't know this. And our stories remind us of our humanity. The stories are told to teach us our humanity and sometimes to teach us why and how we are punished if we don't act according to that great Ubuntu principle. I am who I am because of who we all are. I am who I am because of who we all are. Let's try it. I am who I am because of who we all are. I am who I am because of who we all are. We're getting it. I am who I am because of who we all are. I am who I am because of who we all are. Ubuntu, me and you. Ubuntu, me and you. Come on, use your hands. We got to move our hands a little bit. I know, right? Come on. Ubuntu, me and you. Ubuntu, me and you. Ubuntu, me and you. Ubuntu, me and you. I am who I am because of who we all are. I am who I am because of who we all are. Good, we'll come back to that. You guys sound good. All right, okay. So, I want to share with you a little story. And then we got a couple little things we're going to do in our little storytelling time together. And I was thinking about this story when I came in, and it's told in lots of places in many ways, and here's how I'm going to tell it. Okay, I'll put it in South Africa. Why not? In South Africa, when the Zulu people begin their stories, they say, "Kwesukesukela," which means, hey, I got a story. And when the listeners hear "Kwesukesukela," they say, "Kosi." Here's your click. This one. Not this. That's the Q. And not this. That's the X. This one. That's the C. So you click one time and you open your mouth and say, Kosi. Try it. Kosi. Try it again. Kosi. Try it again. Kosi. Good. I'm going to say Kwesukesukela. You're going to say Kosi. I'm going to say Kwesukesukela. You're going to say Kosi. I'm going to say Kwesukesukela. You're going to say Kosi. Kwesukesukela.
Kosi.
Kwesukesukela.
Kosi.
Kwesukesukela.
Kosi.
Kwesukesukela.
Kosi.
Long ago in a Zulu village, there were some children who lived there, and they knew that on the far side of the village there was a very old man. Now, everybody called him Baba, which is a word for father and a great sign of respect. You know it? Is it used where you come from too? Which is where? Nigeria, Baba also. Other places? Where? Arabic, also Baba. Nice. Others? Okay. That's good for now. So, the children knew that Baba was a sign of respect, but they weren't always so respectful. You know, I mean, they were, mostly, when they needed to greet the elders. They were very nice and polite. But when those children got away from the elders, they would talk about them sometimes. I know you don't ever do anything at all like that, but these children did. And sometimes they would talk about Baba, and they would say, everybody thinks that Baba knows so much. They go and they ask him questions all the time. Do you know, I heard somebody go and ask Baba, why do you have to take the cattle over to that side? Why not take them over there? And do you know, he spent about 15 minutes giving an answer, and somebody else asked, why do we plant the sugar cane down there? And do you know, he talked for 45 minutes? He must know everything. But there was one among the children who said, I don't think Baba knows everything. I don't think he's so wise. And I can prove it. You can? Yes, I can. Everybody thinks Baba knows so much. Well, watch what I'm going to do. And this child went over to one of the thorn bushes and grabbed a bird that was sitting right among those branches, and grabbed that bird and put it right in his cloth, right there at the side of him. And the others said, what are you going to do with that bird? I'm going to see how wise Baba is. Let's see if he knows everything. I'm going to take this bird over to Baba, and I have some questions for him. Oh, what questions are you going to ask Baba? What questions are you going to ask? I'm going to ask him what he thinks I have in my cloth. And if he happens to guess that I have a bird in my cloth, I'm going to ask him if it's alive or if it's dead. And if he says it's alive, I'm going to kill it. And if he says it's dead, I'm going to let it go. We'll see how wise that old man really is. Well, the other children weren't feeling quite as brave as they had been before. But they went with their friend, and they all approached Baba, and they greeted him. So, Bona Baba, Yebo, the old man said. And then the brave young man stepped forward. Baba! Baba! Baba, I have a question for you. And Baba said, all right, what is your question? Baba, I want to know if you know what I have in my pouch right here. And just then the bird gave a little bit of a movement. And Baba said, of course I know. You have a bird right there. The children were impressed. See, Baba knew, Baba knew. But the one with the bird said, okay, Baba, good. But I want to know this. Is the bird alive or is the bird dead? And everybody held their breath waiting to see what Baba was going to say. And Baba looked at all who had gathered. And then he looked at the boy holding the bird. It's very simple. My son. The answer to that is in your hands. The answer to that is in your hands. Do me a favor. Breathe that story in. Breathe it all the way in. Close your eyes if you have to, if you want to. All the way into your toes. And do me a favor. Turn to the person sitting right next to you. Yeah, go ahead. You can do two. Pick two. All right. 2 or 3. You can do 3. Do 2 or 3. And I'm going to let you guys tell that story with your partner. All right? Oh my God, I didn't know this was how it was going to be, but that's how it's going to be. All right? So decide who's going to go first. Decide who's going to go second. Who doesn't have a partner? If you don't have a partner, raise your hand. You can talk to yourself. Believe me, I do it often. I tell myself stories. You believe that, don't you? I just tell the stories in my car to whoever's listening. The ancestors are among us. All right? So, decide who's first and decide who's second. First person. Ready? And don't worry, just do the best you can. Whatever you remember is all good. Okay, first person, begin. Go.
Who wants to go?
You want to go first?
Okay, I go.
I don't see y'all moving.